Ultra-processed food consumption is not simply a matter of personal choice. It is deeply shaped by socioeconomic pressures, cultural expectations, and systemic inequities that make unhealthy eating almost unavoidable for large segments of the population. While processed foods harm individuals across all ages, the burden falls heaviest on low-income communities, where structural limitations, financial stress, and cultural norms combine to create an environment where unhealthy options dominate every meal. The danger is not just that these foods are cheap and convenient. It is that they become embedded in daily life, shaping taste preferences, hunger patterns, and health trajectories from childhood through old age. For low-income families, the dominance of ultra-processed foods is driven by financial realities that are rarely acknowledged in public health conversations. Fresh produce, whole grains, and minimally processed proteins often cost more, spoil faster, and require more preparation time than packaged foods engineered for long shelf life. In areas known as food deserts or even food swamps, supermarkets are scarce while convenience stores and fast food outlets are everywhere. This creates a food landscape where the cheapest, most accessible choices are also the most harmful. Parents under financial strain may rely on frozen meals, instant noodles, and packaged snacks simply because they are affordable and predictable. Over time, these foods become normalized within the family, making it harder for children to develop a taste for whole, natural foods. Even when families want to improve their diet, the economic and logistical barriers often make healthier eating feel out of reach. Cultural norms add another layer of complexity. In many communities, especially those facing long-standing economic hardship, ultra-processed foods are not just convenient, they are woven into social identity. Celebrations, school events, workplace gatherings, and family routines often center around fast food, packaged snacks, or sugary drinks. This is especially true for children, who may grow up believing these foods are normal meals rather than occasional treats. Teenagers absorb these norms deeply, especially in peer environments where processed foods are considered fun, modern, or socially acceptable. By the time they reach adulthood, food preferences are so shaped by culture and convenience that shifting to healthier patterns requires emotional and social effort in addition to financial resources. The impact on adults is particularly severe because socioeconomic stress increases the allure of foods that provide quick emotional relief. Ultra-processed foods are engineered to deliver intense flavors and immediate satisfaction, making them appealing coping mechanisms for individuals dealing with job insecurity, long work hours, caregiving responsibilities, or chronic financial anxiety. Stress amplifies cravings for high-sugar and high-fat foods, while lack of time and energy encourages reliance on products that require no preparation. In this environment, biological vulnerabilities and social pressures reinforce one another. Stress drives people toward processed foods. Processed foods worsen metabolic instability, and metabolic instability increases vulnerability to further stress. It becomes a cycle that feels impossible to break. In older adults, cultural and socioeconomic pressures continue to shape food choices, often with even more harmful consequences. Seniors with limited income, reduced mobility, or minimal social support may depend on processed foods simply because they are easy to access and prepare. Canned soups, packaged pastries, deli meats, and microwave meals become staples not out of preference, but out of necessity. Meanwhile, cultural norms around thriftiness can reinforce reliance on cheap foods, even when their health effects become more dangerous with age. Older adults who grew up during economic hardship may prioritize low cost above all else, making them particularly vulnerable to the damaging effects of high sodium, high sugar, and low nutrient diets. This often accelerates chronic disease, worsening hypertension, diabetes, and frailty in ways that drain both health and independence. The most troubling part of this issue is how deeply structural it is. The food industry deliberately targets low-income areas with aggressive marketing, discount pricing, and oversized portions designed to encourage habitual consumption. Children are exposed to thousands of advertisements for junk food long before they learn to read. School cafeterias often rely on processed meals because they are cheap and can be prepared quickly. Entire generations grow up internalizing these patterns as normal. By the time adults recognize the health consequences, the cultural and economic systems around them have already made change extraordinarily difficult. The warning here is harsh. Ultra-processed food consumption is not a personal failing. It is the predictable outcome of social and economic structures that push the cheapest, most harmful foods into the lives of those least able to resist them. Low-income populations face a double burden. They are more exposed to processed foods and more harmed by their effects due to limited healthcare access, higher stress, and fewer opportunities for recovery. Cultural norms reinforced over decades deepen this reliance, making it feel natural even as it undermines health at every stage of life. Unless these systemic forces are acknowledged, millions will continue consuming diets that slowly destroy metabolic health, cognitive resilience, and emotional well-being. Ultra-processed foods are not simply a dietary convenience. They are a social and cultural trap, one that tightens its grip across generations and accelerates disease long before individuals understand the price they are paying.